Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. We have a special guest returning to the show this time for an incredibly important cause. Kris Bachman has recently become the project manager for a foundation called Beat Childhood Cancer, and she's here to talk about what she's doing within that foundation to raise money and support for childhood cancer. We're going to start off with a brief introduction into the foundation itself, and then we'll get right into the interview. So please, if this is something you find valuable, pass it on to people that you know. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And without any further ado, I want to show you what Beat Childhood Cancer is all about. Thank you.
Children with cancer can't wait for our current healthcare system to meet the needs of every patient, so we stopped waiting. We've taken the fight into our own hands. Beat Childhood Cancer is an unprecedented allegiance of parents, doctors, and researchers, united in a single mission to beat childhood cancer for every child, everywhere. In order to do that, a more tailored, empathetic, and transparent approach to cancer treatment is desperately needed. That's why we're creating individualized solutions for every child, using effective drugs that already exist, and sharing our progress openly so that we can break down information barriers and defend hope. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, our collaborative team of researchers and physicians looks closely at how that child's specific tumor is behaving in their body in order to develop solutions that are centered entirely around treating them, not just attacking their cancer. This approach enables us to utilize medications and therapies that are not only less toxic to children's growing bodies, but also more effective at treating each child's specific type of tumor. And unlike the harsher, more generalized approaches offered by our broken traditional systems, the solutions we develop for each child prioritize their immediate comfort while preserving their long-term safety, health, development, and well-being. Together, we're working vigilantly to create a new system that will ensure every patient has access to the right options at the right time and as close to home as possible. For us, there's no such thing as false hope, because when it comes to our kids, giving up will never be an option. We'll do whatever it takes to beat childhood cancer for every child, everywhere.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. I'm Derek, your host, and with us today, we have a returning guest, multiple returning guests, because she's been on a couple times, thankfully. But before I introduce her or reintroduce her, we're not doctors, so before you go changing anything, please check with your physician. All right. So with us today is Kris Bachman, who has actually something incredibly important to talk about. Oh, she always has important things to talk about, let's be honest. But this is something new that she told me about, and I immediately I wanted a chance to share this with everybody. So, Kris, welcome back to the show.
I mean, what a blessing to be on multiple times to talk about important things. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So why don't you just let us know something new you have going on?
So I had been working with a nonprofit over the years, kind of on and off, because it's just been a cause that has been very important to me. And give you a little bit of a backstory. So about, I would say over 10 years ago, I met my friend Sarah. We were actually curling my one and only
Curling
time.
on the ice?
On the ice, yes.
Oh, I love it.
And so she started to share her story about her nonprofit. And at the time, it was just a small, local nonprofit, but she was doing tremendous work. She lost her son, Jack, to neuroblastoma, which is a type of pediatric cancer that has a very low survival rate. And so I, immediately kind of just wanted to help in any way. So I was like, Sarah, whatever you need, whenever you need it,
Yeah.
I want to help. And so she came to me when I found out I was going to be running Boston for the first time. And she's like, would you mind just doing a little fundraising campaign? And I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. And so the idea of that was to just get moms to start moving again. It didn't have to be like running a marathon, but I wanted people to follow my training and what I was doing and just to get their bodies moving again. And because I'm such a strong believer that when we are strong for ourselves, when we take care of ourselves, we can show up as a better version of ourselves for our children, for our spouses, for our employers, for our community. So it starts with us first. And so I just really wanted to emphasize that. So then now fast forwarding 10 years, Sarah had another idea, and now her nonprofit has gone from this kind of smaller local nonprofit to a national nonprofit called Beat Childhood Cancer. And she has this idea. She's like, why don't we get people to run 26.2 miles in 2026? And so I'm like, I love that idea. So me being the avid marathoner that I am, I kind of was helping out every way that I could. And then I got offered the position as project manager to spearhead this project.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so our goal is to get 26 people to run 26.2 miles while raising $2,600 in 2026. So easy
Okay.
to remember all the 26s there. But then, after kind of like further thought, we're just like, not everyone is a marathoner. Like that's a big ask for a lot of people. And so we've kind of just opened it up to doing something epic, like doing something that you have to train for. And you really just want to make whatever you're doing, whatever your adventure is, triathlon, just make it matter and do it for a cause that's so important and so worthy of our dollars. And so one of the other options that we're giving is for people in September, since that is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, if they could just walk 26 miles that month and keep track of it. And so we're forming teams. Team Beat CC, and we will provide you with swag, with whatever you need for your journey. We're going to have some product vendors, some swag, some like really good stuff for people to join our team.
I love that. That's really cool the way that evolved. And obviously I've gotten to know you over the last, I don't know, year and a half. Is that how long we've known each other at
I
this
know,
point?
yeah.
I don't even know. But I feel like anytime that somebody needs something, you are so eager to help completely unselfishly, and you get so enthusiastic about it. I think this is obviously a very, very important thing to raise money for. But I love the way you've put it together in the way it's kind of shaped up here. That's definitely easy to remember. 26 people, $2,600, 26.2 miles in 2026. So if I can remember it first time, then then it's pretty self-explanatory. How does the when you say team, is that the group of everybody, or is it possible if like 3 or 4 people wanted to do it together or something like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like however you want to make it work. It can be any like a race or event. If you wanted to join with some friends to do it that way, you could do that. We're also working pretty diligently to have a one event that we're going to kind of put all our effort on being a part of. I mean, we just can't be present for everyone's races, right?
Oh,
but we
yeah, of course.
for one race in particular, and it has a very special meaning to it. So we're trying to get some charity bibs for Honolulu Marathon, which is in December. And the reason why we're focusing on Honolulu so much is that Sarah's son, Jack, before he passed away, he did his like Make-A-Wish trip to Honolulu, and he still needed treatment while they were on vacation. And so the Honolulu Pediatric Cancer Center there was gracious enough to take him on as a patient temporarily. And so Sarah has has remained in good contact with all of the physicians and the treatment team there, and so they're going to participate. And
That's
they're
wonderful.
yeah, and so we want to be there for that. So it's very special. Um, and a reason that this cause is so important to me is, I'm a mother. I'm also a nurse practitioner. I've seen the worst of the worst things here, and I don't want to see kids suffer. No one wants to see it suffer.
Yeah.
And I've seen how diligently Sarah has worked over the years with other families as well whose kids were receiving cancer treatment, for them to raise funding to find better ways so that these kids don't have the long-term side effects, so that they have quality of life after their cancer treatment is completed. It's one thing to have that 5-year survival and feel really good about that, but then it's like, okay, well, what's the quality of life afterwards? Like,
Yeah.
what damage has this treatment done? Because there just isn't enough funding and enough research being done for better targeted treatment. And so Sarah and a group of families raised $1 million to
Wow.
fast track a certain medication through the FDA. They knew a researcher that was working on something that was very promising, and so they helped get the funding to fast track it through. Unfortunately, it didn't go through in fast enough to help their son, but it did help another boy in our community. And so it's like, you can make a difference. These fundraising efforts do make a difference, no matter how big or how small that you can, how much money you can raise.
That's amazing. Wow. Yes, I'm glad you shared this with me, because I think this is definitely something that um people will want to help out with. I mean, obviously, nobody wants to see anything happen to a child, or one they know or one they don't know. But I think this is an amazing cause. I haven't met Sarah, but she sounds very similar to you, where very passionate about the important stuff. So incredibly, incredibly happy to help. So how do people sign? Is there a website people go to, or what's the process like
Yes,
from
I'll
there?
share the link with you to put in the notes. But yeah, there's a website, there's a sign up, and we will reach out to you from there on next steps.
So you had mentioned 26 people. What if there are more than 26 people that want to do it?
Even better. 26 is like our limit. We've had one person actually run a spring race. It's kind of like a soft launch for us. And so we actually need 25 more, but the plan is to continue this into next year as well, and go even bigger. So more races we're going to try to get more charity bibs for different races. Running has really kind of taken off lately with all the run clubs, and it's
Yeah.
amazing to see the energy behind it all. And so, we want to offer people charity bibs if we can get them as well, because some races sell out so fast now. You have to sign up really early. And so if we can do that, that would be a huge benefit.
That sounds simple for people. So that'll definitely be in the show notes. As you're listening to this, you can click that and check that out. Is there any other information about it that we haven't covered yet?
I don't know. I think we kind of covered everything right now. But it's just exciting when kind of everything aligns and you have purpose. We're not just doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for something that's so much bigger. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's exciting. Combining all my passions into like a job is pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Well, congratulations, by the way, because that
yeah, thank
sounds
you.
like the perfect job for you,
Yes.
to spearhead that thing.
Yeah.
And your kids must love it too, seeing mom getting going with that stuff.
Yeah, and if anyone else is, out there like nervous about, maybe I haven't run a marathon before, I'm going to put a shameless plug in there, but I also am a running coach. So, um, if you need help preparing, planning, I would love to help anyone with figuring out how to tackle training for a marathon, because,
And
it's definitely not something you should wing.
No. I agree with that one. And I'll put, Kris, I'll put your Instagram handle and everything in there too. And honestly, your reels always pop up. I don't know anybody more consistent than Kris, and it's all in. She'll put up the cut elbows and the bruises and like the drenched with sweat pictures, but it's always a big smile on your face while you're doing it. So if you do need a coach, you want to find someone who loves what they're doing and lives that life. And I can vouch for Kris 100% that is her life. This is stuff she's passionate about. So excellent coach.
I just want to be as authentic as possible. Like, I feel like, Instagram gets, it's everyone's highlight reel, which is great, right? Like, we love that. It pumps us up. But like, I also, don't expect anything from the people that I train that I wouldn't do myself. And so I'm just, it takes a lot of work. And if you have big goals, then you got to just put it all out there. I just want to be as real and as authentic as possible.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. I know it's a little shorter than most, but it is incredibly important. So if this is something you can see yourself doing and participating in, please don't hesitate. Reach out to Kris, reach out to me, and we'll get you set up with that. If it's something you think somebody else might be interested in, please forward this along. We appreciate all the support as always. Thank you very much.